What's good, guys? I'm back for the second season of STROPS Klat. Welcome back to STROPS Klat, the podcast where we talk things all Cleveland sports and more. And today, even though this is classified as episode 0 of season 2, the rebranded STROPS Klat, because it's just me now and not Timmy, we are going to be talking about what happened in the offseason in the NFL. And as you know, because I say it every time, STROPS Klat is considered Cleveland sports because that is the area where I am from. But generally speaking, I will always have a take on new and all types of sports. I am going to say this offseason for the Browns, big. We still don't know what's going on with Quinshon Judkins, and don't get me wrong, I am scared to death about that because I love the kid, great running back out of Ohio State. Season, it hasn't even started yet, and every single time I hear something about his contract either getting worse or another day hasn't been signed, it's making me wonder, even though that Andrew Berry wanted to get him, I don't know, I'm really debating, should we have gotten Henderson instead? Because don't get me wrong, he went 2 picks later. But if we had picked Henderson, would he already be on the team? Would we already have this? We have this drama. I love the kid. Don't get me wrong. I want him to be on the team. I want him to be running back 1 after week 5 and send Ford somewhere else to get a draft pick. Don't get me wrong. I like Jerome Ford, but we're running out of cap space because of Deshaun Watson. Even with the insurance money, should he not take a snap for us this year, which is looking less and less likely. I don't know. Something's going on. I don't want him to play for us either. We all know what he can do. But I want the insurance money to save some of the cap space so that we have room to pay David Njoku, who's needed a new contract after this season. Future rookies. We have 2 first-rounders next year, so unless you trade one of those away, you're going to end up having to pay 2 big deals. At least one of the teams are going to suck, so you're going to get a top 10 pick regardless. And even then, I don't even think the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs, so you're going to have it between a top 10 to 15 pick with the 2 of them. Because even the Browns, even if we end up becoming 3rd place, I still think, based on the hard schedule we have, I think that we are going to at least have a 7-win record. I can see 7-9 I can't count, 7-10. But I think that we need Judkins on the team so we can plan for the future. Okay, I know the Browns have been in a rebuild ever since the loss of Baker because we were in 2020 playoffs. I feel like even if we had won against the Chiefs, we still would have lost to Tampa Bay because it's Tom Brady, but we would have been like the Bengals, win the AFC, but still lose the Super Bowl. But back to present day, the Browns, despite having still issues at quarterback and running back, we all know Kenny Pickett got traded. I'm sure most of you know if you've seen the highlight by now, by the time that you hear this. Kenny Pickett was traded to the Raiders, but the reason we got Kenny Pickett back then, because we didn't know Flacco was coming back. We needed a veteran to teach. I feel like that Pickett was the easiest way because he was DTR's escape route. And look at the Eagles. They ended up cutting him anyway. Gage Larvadan, rookie out of USC, undrafted, played at Miami of Ohio and Oxford. And honestly, good for him because he made the team. He's shown big progress.
2nd and 5. They're going to throw it deep down the far sideline, and it's hauled in and caught at the 30. A big catch for Gage Larvadan.
I've seen Harold Fannin, rookie out of Bowling Green. He was doing well. He made the team. Of course, he was drafted, but still. That goes to show you, to all you people who believe only the big schools can produce people, that's not always true. The lower class MAC has been producing at least 3 to 4 per state. Now, whether a team takes it or not is up to them. But I think 3 to 4 players in lower schools per state, that's good enough for the NFL. It's expanding. Talent expands. And I feel that would be good for people. Now, I think that we just need to up the Browns' talent a little bit more. We have the wide receiver core. Running back is questionable. Quarterback, definitely questionable because Flacco's not playing all 17 games. And I think Shedeur Sanders will take snaps this season. I just think it'll be towards the end. Because Dylan Gabriel right now is labeled QB2. Technically, even though Watson's on the physically unable to perform list, that's only until after we play Detroit. What about the rest of the season? He takes one snap, his insurance is canceled. And I know everybody wants to see Shedeur, and I think he'll play before Watson does. But still, the thought of Watson coming back to take at least one more snap for the team, unless it's in desperate need, which even then I still don't want. Just put in Bailey Zappi, who's back on the practice squad, and just tank. I'd rather tank than have Watson take one more snap. Well, for this team, technically. At the team, I don't care. He can leave the team and play for somebody else for all I care. But nobody's going to want him because nobody wants his contract. So I'm just going to say that we all know the big contract and news that broke the NFL. Micah Parsons to the Packers. The Packers. Jerry Jones. I honestly, when I saw this, I thought that they gave up what the Browns gave for Deshaun Watson plus. But no, Brian Gutekunst fleeced him. Either that or Jerry Jones is just that much of an idiot. Now, I don't have any hatred towards Jerry Jones, but as the GM and owner, more the GM on this one, to just be in denial and to get rid of him because he said he wanted traded, even though he thought he was going to do what Myles Garrett did and just pull it off a scare tactic. That didn't work. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, not going to. So I'm going to say this. If the Packers end up winning the NFC North, and I, as a Lake Erie fan, I will root for the Lions and Bills as well as the Browns. But still, the fact to know that the Lions could be in danger, even though their season already sort of was with all the injuries, because they're not going to get all their people back until like mid-season, which is when they play the easier half. They're like the Browns. You start off hard. Problem is, Detroit will play the Ravens week 3 and the Browns week 4. Now, week 4, don't get me wrong, I'm sure the Browns will lose. But in that instance, I don't care who wins. I honestly, I'm rooting for a tie in that game because I like both teams. Same with the Browns-Bills, unless we're fighting for a playoff spot. Now, I doubt that's going to happen, but if Flacco has any 2023 magic left in him, it'll happen. Now, back to the Packers and Cowboys. I've seen so many Cowboys fans upset that it's the Packers of all teams. The only way this would be worse is if it was somebody in their division or the 49ers. Like, that's how bad that the rivalry is between the Packers and the Cowboys are. The Cowboys and Packers have always been upset with each other, and the Cowboys always get bounced by the Packers or 49ers every year in the playoffs. And the fact that he just went to one of their rivals, Jerry Jones, and the Cowboys have got to be kicking themselves in the butt, especially for the low interest that they got back for him. 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. Micah Parsons should be worth a minimum of 4 picks. 2 first-rounders, a third and a player, or 2 first-rounders, a second, and a 7th. Like, that's how valuable Micah Parsons is. We would have gotten more if we ended up trading Myles Garrett to Washington, even though that didn't happen, and thank God, because that would ruin the defense. But still, that's how bad that Jerry Jones he fumbled it. He fumbled and got fleeced by Brian Gutekunst, GM of the Packers. Like, that's how unbelievable this was. Every other deal came to fruition except for Micah Parsons, who got traded, and Judkins, who's still in legal issues. Even though the charges have been dropped, the NFL is still doing their investigation, so technically still legal troubles. They are the only 2. Everybody else has had a deal. Now, I'm pretty sure that David Njoku will get a deal done because he loves it here. He even said stay to Myles when he was having his, scare tactic. So the fact that Njoku's staying that, I don't know if he'll take the pay cut, but I do know he will at least do whatever he can to stay on the team. So, yeah, that's the Browns. The Lions, not much has happened with them besides that players are coming back. Hutchinson is supposed to have a breakout year. The Bills, they're the Bills. they're doing their own deals. It's not as bad as Dallas, but they're doing their own deals. And I hate to say it, as much as I love the Bills, you gotta get past the Chiefs. Like, you can beat them in the regular season and lose to them in the postseason. And honestly, I'm hoping for a Lake Erie Super Bowl. I doubt the Browns will do it, so it's going to be Detroit and the Bills. Detroit has to represent the AFC in terms of Lake Erie because they're the only ones. But the AFC can be Browns or Bills. And honestly, if it's the Browns, I'll root for the Browns because they have their one and possibly only chance. But if it's Lions, Bills, I'm not going to care who wins. I like both teams. Lake Erie teams for life. That's my slogan. So, yeah, that's what's going on in the offseason. Ohio State is playing, so occasionally I'll throw in some college football, but not in this episode, since this is technically episode 0. And yeah, I think that's all for this episode, as episode 0. Episode 1 will feature NFL and college football, along with any baseball highlights that are coming in. I doubt the Guardians will make the playoffs, but if we do, it's probably going to get bounced. But we will keep you posted if they don't, because it's Cleveland sports and more, so Cleveland sports will get talked about. And even though Columbus and Ohio State are not Cleveland, most Ohio State fans are Browns fans, so theoretically, even though they're not in the same location, they have the support of Cleveland. So yeah, that's going on for this episode. And next episode, I will bring you some football and highlights. Yeah. Alright, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.